Okay, part three. First, backtrack a little. While we were in Brugge, we saw the Madonna and Child, which is a Michelangelo sculpture that is one of the few that's outside of Italy, which we took pictures of. And Sharon got some good pictures of it because she really liked it. And we also ate at a pizza place that showed us how the euro works because we're there and we paid for the four of us, and it came to like 30 euros, which at the time you're not really thinking euros, you're thinking dollars until you get your bill, and it turned out it was $30 bill. It turned out to be a $75 bill, which, Margaret and Russell worth it, but, you don't think of that while you're doing it. And, one other thing, when we were on our way to Dover the first morning, Margaret, we got about 5 or 6 miles from the house, and Margaret remembered she'd forgotten her muffin on the counter. And Russell, being the dutiful husband, drove back and got it so that she could have her muffin on the way to the boat, which I thought was really nice of him. Show some love there. Well, anyway, the next morning, Tuesday, it was the 5th. It was Guy Fawkes Day, which they're blowing off fireworks everywhere. The guy tried to blow up Parliament at one point in time, and this is the holiday in November that they celebrate it by blowing things up all over the place. And even when we flew into Heathrow, there were fireworks going off all around it, which seems strange next to an airport after you come through Homeland Security in the United States. But that aside, we headed off to see Stonehenge. And it's a long drive. It's from Brussels up in one corner heading toward France of England, and this is down at the far end, which is a little warmer down there. There's some parts of England that are actually tropical because they're so low down into the Gulf Stream. But we headed down to Stonehenge, drove a long time on roads, which you get to see the trucks of England, which are mainly soft-sided and twice as tall as ours, which is weird. But I'd hate to see where there'll be in an accident because they travel very fast. Most of the roads in England are like 3 feet across, except for the highways, are about 3 feet across with little roundabouts at four-way stops, which, you don't really stop. You just sort of swing into the roundabout and move on. But we drove down, and we were going to stay at an Air Force base right near the Stonehenge. Can't remember the name of it right now, but I'm sure it'll come to me. We went in and we got our room at the thing. It's like a little Holiday Inn type thing, but it's inside the military base. As we're pulling up, the little English guy with his, dressed in black with his submachine gun is at the gate. And I said to Russell, "Hey, can I take a picture of this?" And he said, "If you do, they'll confiscate the camera because that picture they figure will end up on the internet 5 minutes afterwards, and this guy doesn't want his picture on the internet." I said, "Enough said." Now, didn't get any pictures of that. There are a lot of little guys and girls at the gate with submachine guns, and they protect their bases. I don't see that in Fort Devens. I never saw anything like that. So, anyway, we went in, and it was a typical military base. We bought most of our gas on military bases because it was like $3 a gallon, where if you're outside in England, it's close to $8 a gallon. And 4 pounds, but it's $8.88, which is, in America it was only up to $2.99 when we left. So, we're paying a little bit more on the base, but not like they were in the rest of England. And we got our rooms, nice rooms. Russell got one room. Margaret wasn't with us because she had to work. And we got a room across from his. And then we headed off to Stonehenge. And Stonehenge pops up out of nowhere. It's just you're driving along and it's like in the middle of like a fork in two roads. It just doesn't seem like that's where it would be. It's on a big wide field. All around are hills, and the hills have burial mounds in them where the not Druids, because Druids didn't build it, but people of the time that built it buried their people off in the distance because it was a religious spot for the most part. You see the summer solstice and the winter solstice. And we had some cards. We only had to pay one fee because Russell had these cards that you use in England, and you join it almost like you join Sturbridge Village, and you can go in and see it whenever you want. So we had Margaret and his card, and he paid the bill and paid the bill for him, and we paid him back. And we went in. They give you little talking machines you can listen to while you're walking around. You go through this little tunnel with paintings of, Stonehenge and the old cave-type people that were building it. Come out on the other side of the road, because Stonehenge is all fenced in. You can't just stop and walk in. You have to go in through this. It is a park. And you can't touch Stonehenge unless you make appointments like a couple weeks in advance. Call them up and say you want to, and then you have to go to a special place, and they bring you out, and you can get in and touch Stonehenge. But other than that, you can only walk around the outside of it on like a little walkway around it, and there are guards to keep you from going in. And we met one of the guards and asked him what the weirdest thing he ever had there, and he said it was when the Druid took off all our clothes and ran into the middle, and he had to go in and explain to her the Druids didn't build it, which disappointed her, but he didn't think it was all that bad. And we got some great sunset pictures. Russell's got a nice camera. He was taking a bunch of sunset pictures of the sun basically right on top of Stonehenge going down, so it really came out nice, good shadow and stuff. And then we went from there to a pub where I got to have my second Guinness, because in this one they had it's right outside the military base, a little pub, Horse and Hare or something. And it looked like Old English. And we went in, and then Russell took a picture of us behind the counter pouring beers and stuff with the guy. And they were young guys that were there, and they, pretty good about taking the pictures. And we, they have a thing, a draft American-style Guinness and a draft English-style Guinness. And I had the English one again, and it does really go down wicked smooth compared to over here. And then we sat down and I had fish and chips, and I forget what they had. One of the things on the menu was spotted dick, which I never really did figure out what that was. But it was a good meal. And from there we went back over to the Air Force base, and it was Air Force or Army. I think it was Air Force. And we stayed at the hotel, and Russell came over to our room. We watched TV for a little while, and then we went to sleep. And the next day we got up, checked out, and we headed off to Bath. And Bath is the place in England where the Roman baths are, and the Romans built them. And you get to tour all of that, and that will be in the next section.